Quick heads up, as I was recording this video, another piece of news just broke. Apparently now the IRS is expected to cut 6,000 jobs and announce those 6,000 job cuts tomorrow. Now it's a far cry from the 80,000 they added, but it looks like now the IRS is also getting doged. But let's talk about this stimulus that Donald Trump is now confirming. Let's talk. All right, Donald Trump was just talking about how close we are to World War III, saying we're not too far away from it, which is part of his motivation here to tell Americans that he's doing his best to negotiate for all of us, and that he's not doing things for political reason. He's doing things that he believes are the right things to do. And along with that came the acknowledgement about the Doge Dividend checks, or tax refunds, debt payoff, and potential, essentially, stimulus funding. Now, Donald Trump did echo that Doge so far in its first 30 days has slashed about $55 billion in what he also agrees is unnecessary government spending. And of course, a lot of people are very happy to see some efficiency come to government because, well, I think we all have very similar opinions on government spending. That said, there are arguments that are still being made, just like we talked about this morning, that was it $55 billion? Because there are only about $16 billion of cuts listed on the Doge savings website. So with that said, what I'd like to do is go through and just do a quick little calculation here, because if we look at $55 billion in spending, or I should say savings, Donald Trump just gave us a metric in terms of how much we might expect, in his opinion, would be reasonable to go towards stimulus or money back to the people. His argument is that you should do 60% less government spending going forward, 20% existing debt payoff, and 20% stimulus or Doge dividends, potentially in the form of either tax refunds or something for taxing or households that are taxed. This has already led the Treasury market to see a little bit of a bounce, because anything that indicates that the debt might actually get paid down, even in the face of higher inflation levels, has actually led the Treasury market to move up slightly. So if you're looking at ETFs like TLT, you've seen it come off the bottom, partly because of Doge. So if you're invested in TLT, you kind of have to thank Doge a little bit for that. But let's just do the quick math here. If we've got $55 billion, we take 20% of that, we'd be looking at about $11 billion just from the first 30 days in government savings that could be distributed to, well, that'd be 20% to debt payoff, so $11 billion debt payoff, and then potentially $11 billion in the form of distribution to the approximately, I'm going to go with a midpoint here, because people say there are about 79 to 90 million tax-paying households, and it sort of depends on how you define a tax-paying household. Anyway, so if we just divide 85 to go with the middle range there, that would work out to, in the first 30 days, a $129 essentially Doge dividend. So kind of think about it as like maybe a monthly passive income thing. If Doge could continue to cut $55 billion from this point on, essentially. Now, if we use what the legacy media is reporting and we use $16.6 billion, mind you, where they came up with that number is they just went through the Doge website and added up the numbers that are listed there, the receipts that are listed there. If we use 16.6 instead as a number for the potential savings that Doge has conducted, that would only work out to $39. However, this is for the first 30 days. So if we annualize this and say, hey, how much could we potentially save in a year, multiply that by 12, on the lower number, that works out to close to a $469 stimulus check. I'm not making that number up either. That's 16.6 billion divided by 85 million. It comes out to 469. And again, if we go with the 55 figure, it puts us at about $1,567. And that is 12% of that. That's 20% of that. It's just the annual figure, right? So this assumes that if we can keep saving the way we have been for the first 30 days, that this is not low-hanging fruit, that we can continue to save like this as we dig deeper and into different agencies, it really assumes this potential, using Trump's numbers, for the entire year of about a $1,500 stimulus check. If we use the media's numbers, based on cuts for the first 30 days, we're closer to $469 for the year. Now, again, some people are suggesting this number should be all the way as high as $5,000. And this is really taking the idea that Doge ends up being able to go all the way, cutting $2 trillion. And if they cut $2 trillion, then potentially we end up seeing the full $5,000, using, again, a 20% waiter there. So if I take, let's see here, if we take $2 trillion and we call that over the entire period of time, so $2 trillion times 20% divided by 85 million households, looking at $4,705 to be exact. So that's where that number comes from. So what's fascinating, though, is we've now seen how these ideas percolate to Donald Trump. So some opinion gets popularity on X, or somebody's suggestion gets popularity on X. Elon Musk ends up seeing it, and then Elon Musk says, hey, you know what, I'm going to talk to the president about this. This is very interesting. And then Donald Trump in a conference, which, or some form of presentation, which, he's just wrapping up, right, there you go. He's just wrapping that one up right now. And I've been watching it for quite a while here. Donald Trump, within 24 hours of Elon Musk saying, we'll talk to the president about this, Donald Trump is here giving a presentation and including this 20% Doge dividend ratio. So in other words, I want to simplify this and kind of give everybody encouragement over what Doge is doing. Whatever the real number is that Doge is cutting, multiply it by 20% and divide it by 85 million. That's your potential Doge dividend. So the more they cut, the better. Again, though, if we're looking at this downside risk that potentially the low-hanging fruit was cut early, and now we're not seeing as many cuts as we're hoping because maybe it gets harder to start cutting more or more problems come up as a result of those cuts, well, in that case, we're probably going to end up having to look and go, all right, maybe it'll work out to like a $40 cut per month or $40 dividend per month, which is still like $500 a year, right? But is that better received, or is that better for the economy in the form of a tax deduction or, like lower taxes, basically? So we'll see. But again, breaking news, Donald Trump acknowledging this shows you again how this information percolates up to Elon Musk, and I thought it was quite fascinating, so I wanted to share it with y'all. Consider subscribing if you want more information like this. We'll also be coming out with some analysis on what's going on with some stocks like Palantir and others later today.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.
Thanks so much for watching. See you soon. Bye.